Okay, it is 11:05 a.m. on the 17th of February, 2026. I am calling this meeting to order. I'd like everybody to please turn off or silence your cell phones and stand for a pledge of allegiance, followed by a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Wonderful. Can I please get an approval of the minutes or
I would
amendment?
like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that. Would you be okay with moving number 1 further down so that if Matt can get on, he might have the ability to be part of that?
Yes, let's approve the agenda with the change that agenda item number 1 be put after agenda item 3.
Sure, sounds great. Alright, to a vote?
Aye.
Aye, that passes unanimously. Now, community information items. Do you have anything you'd like to share, Andy?
Everyone's talking about it. I am a huge optimist when it comes to the season, and I'm always hoping for the big redeeming batch of snow or moisture that's gonna come, but I think at this point, I have got to use my voice at this table to help start raising some public awareness. I've had some meetings with Forest Service representatives, and some other entities, and just the writing is on the wall at this point that coming up this summer, way sooner than we're used to, I think collectively as a community, we're all gonna really need to start paying attention to issues surrounding fire danger. We're gonna need to take that approach of where it takes a village. Everyone's gonna need to be looking out, be friendly, talk to your neighbors. If you see them burning crazy stuff, let them know. You know, this is gonna be the worst. Most likely, all signs indicate that this will be the worst fire season, risk-wise, I think Lake County has seen, at the very least since I've lived here. So, you know, in roughly 30 years, I don't think we've been at greater risk. The reason I do want to voice this, and I'm gonna start talking about it a lot more any chance I get, is because not only are the obvious impacts of a serious wildfire in this area present and horrible, but an underlying thing that not a lot of people really think about is a really bad wildfire in Lake County could economically impact Lake County government in a way that would impact everything this county does. Everything from what, you know, safety net programs to every service we have to our daily operations. We get the wrong kind of fire that happens in this community and we are gonna be underwater trying to make up every penny for decades. Like, it is that serious. So I just wanna start putting it on the radar right now that this is not gonna be the summer for, there's a strong chance that this is not gonna be the summer for fireworks, for open fire pits, for camping out, for turning a blind eye to kids partying in the woods with a bonfire, things of that nature, even spark arresters on your OHVs, the little things, like we're gonna, cigarette butts, everything is gonna need to, will require a higher level of attention, I think, this summer. So I just wanna start planting seeds now because this summer potentially could be really bad with fire danger.
Agreed.
That's all I have.
I drove down to Colorado Springs this weekend And they are in, it was like high fire danger all the way down. Signs everywhere said high fire danger now.
Already.
Yeah, it was really wild. I went to the Forest Health Council last week and there are a lot of entities working on fire breaks, a lot of money coming into the community from our partners who have been working on trying to get fire mitigation done. So, that was really heartening
Yeah.
to know. A lot of work will be happening in this summer and a lot of work has happened. I don't have any community updates. Okay. Just so everyone knows, recordings are available. If you can't find them on YouTube, please reach out to us and we're happy to help you find them. Like and subscribe and follow on YouTube. Public comment is available today for folks who want to speak up. We'll do it in order of people in person, raising your hand, people raising your hand on Zoom, and then sending messages in our chat on Zoom. And we'll do 3 minutes for anyone who'd like to speak. So does anybody in the room want to? Wonderful, just a moment.
What is your name, sir?
David Carner.
Sorry, David, just pulling up my little clock. Okay, go for it.
Okay, try to keep this under 3 minutes. And again, David Carner, I'm a property owner. I have a property called the Mini Placer mining claim up in northeastern Lake County, 70 acres. Currently the site of my cabin, Carner's Cabin, and Business Climax Revival, which is a special event venue. I previously had a special event venue CUP approved, which is now under re-review because I've subdivided my property and I'm under contract with another a buyer who would like to build their own cabin, and I would like to continue my special event venue. I have a large deck that would be appropriate for that, although, with the new property boundaries, I need to start over again. So I'm particularly concerned about the proposed moratorium. I spoke last meeting, 2 weeks about that, so I'm not gonna repeat all of my reasons why. I think that's a terrible idea. But I did want to, utilize this time to, point out a couple of discrepancies that perhaps the county attorney could speak to, because I've been told that my application, which I turned in 2 weeks ago, would, because I got it in before the moratorium, it would be exempt from this moratorium and still be considered. But, my reading of the draft resolution says that, upon adoption, it would immediately stop not only the application acceptance, but processing and approval. So I just would like to get some clarification on that. And then also, the motivations for why this is needed. I know there are CPD staff here in the room that could perhaps, speak to it. In their staff report, they talked about inconsistencies and confusion. I can tell you firsthand that there is some, kind of regulations that don't make a lot of sense, but I don't think that the appropriate way to handle that is to take out the only legal means that property owners and entrepreneurs have to go forward with their development plans. I would recommend that, the board instead simply give direction. My time is up.
Yeah, you can finish your idea, don't
I
worry.
was, just finish my sentence
Yeah,
by
yeah.
saying that I think that for the example that was cited was whether or not porta potties could be an alternative to a full OWTS system in the backcountry for special events. And, yeah, I can tell you, I've spent many thousands of dollars on engineering plans for, an OWTS, which seems kind of silly because, there's only gonna be a large amount of people on, certain weekends. And it seems an unnecessary squandering of resources and water and so forth. And when, a porta potty system could be. So I believe that there's already the means where the board can approve and with a variance, saying that, porta potties will be acceptable in this particular, as a condition for this CUP. So that to me is an example that could be proactive and not hurt the property owners and the entrepreneurs by creating a 6-month or longer delay in having their cases heard. So thank you very much for letting me finish.
Matt Hobbs, do you think you could speak to that clarification of whether an application would pause once the moratorium starts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to speak to his application specifically because I haven't seen it, but I will say generally, yeah, the resolution is drafted in such a manner as assuming the board even adopts it, if it is adopted, applications that have been received prior to the resolution being adopted would proceed under would not be subject to the moratorium.
Does that give you clarification?
It does. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Andy, any questions or?
Not regarding this comment. The only feedback I would give is that I hope as we have a more in-depth conversation over this agenda item, maybe that will shed some light on a couple of the points you brought up, and then we will obviously be accessible for more communication following discussion on this agenda item.
Does anyone else in the room have public comment? Wonderful. Anyone online, public comment? Okay. Candace, do you mind just double checking the chat, please? Awesome. Wonderful. We will move on. To agenda item number 2. Presentation of ordinance 26-1, an ordinance amending ordinance 24-2 concerning the regulation of tobacco product retail sales and requiring a license to sell cigarettes, tobacco products, and nicotine products, led by Ilana Medeiros of Public Health.
Good morning, everyone. So our tobacco program was established in January of last year. Throughout our first year of implementation, we have a lot of lessons learned, both on the retailer side and on the staff side. So we've been kind of working to revise those regulations to better streamline our processes for staff capacity as well as for the retailer. So I am happy to go through all the proposed changes now. Cool. So proposed changes include reducing number of city licenses from 6 to 4 to align with the city ordinance, clarifying that fines and penalties are established and amended only by ordinance, and that regulations may be amended by resolution going forward. Revise and supersede the existing penalty schedule by ordinance, so it's clear penalties are adopted by ordinance. We wanted to clean up the penalty schedule to add a clear general violation category for sections 14 and 15 in the regulations and route unlawful marketing violations into that general category unless a specific penalty applies. Add language allowing a licensee to voluntarily waive a public hearing and stipulate to fines or other sanctions consistent with due process to make clear that this is allowed. Updating the renewal schedule to submit renewal application before the license expires instead of 45 days. Reducing the late fee for license renewal from $250 to $50. Removing the requirement for a copy of state license to be submitted. We can do this on our end, so that's why that's included. changing the public hearing posting requirements to have reasonably visible letters as opposed to specific measurements. Update compliance strict definition from shall to may to include persons under the age of 21, and minor adjustments of section numbers, updating license waiting period to 3 years after revocation in the regulations to align with what's stated in the appendix.
I love it. I have to say, as somebody who has had to print and post the letters that are visible, trying to measure that stuff is cuckoo.
Yeah.
So I love that we're adjusting that.
Thank you.
I have no questions. Andy, do you have any questions?
Nor I. We kind of already had a little bit of back and forth on some of this before, so I'm all good.
I'd welcome a motion.
I would put a motion to approve, can I get a motion to approve ordinance 26-1 and ordinance amending ordinance 24-2?
Wait, yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to raise my hand in this. So this is just a presentation of the ordinance, because it's an ordinance adoption. It actually has to be published
Right.
first.
Oh, right.
So I think the Alana in public health wanted to present it to you guys to see if you had any changes, and then we would go ahead and publish it and set it up for adoption at a subsequent.
So acknowledged.
Yeah, sorry. It does say that in here. I'm sorry I didn't read that.
Neither did I.
We direct you to move forward.
Thank you.
Rip it.
All right. Item number 3, resolution 2026-07. A resolution regarding the use and fees for the Lake County landfill, led by Michael Irwin, our Public Works Director.
How do you do? So I don't have the document in front of me, but it is basically a rewrite of an existing document, a new resolution. There are a few legal things that we've fixed and changed in there, but pretty much it's the same thing. It is to be able to have the landfill pay for itself, and hopefully do pay for all of the expansions that we need to do coming up. The previous commissioners voted in but never signed it. And we did actually raise the price twice without it being signed. So we're asking to be able to follow what they did and continue raising the price every January 1st, with one this year being March 1st. We're already past January.
Yeah, I read through all the notes on this. I just have a big yes next to my notes on this one. So it's really important that the landfill can pay for itself, and hopefully the improvements that are going to be desperately needed. So anything we can do to make sure that happens, I am all for.
Very soon, we're right now trying to get, I'm gonna find out how much airspace we have left with our propeller programs, and being able to fly it in snow is not very good, but it's looking at about 2 years.
2 years, you said roughly, we've had conversations where it was like roughly a 3-year.
Yeah.
Does that add 2 years on top of that?
No. 2 years.
Oh man, the fuse
have been
keeps
here for a
burning
year.
shorter and
Yeah,
shorter.
it does, because we keep getting more trash in, and, you know,
I had a question about how much of a percentage do you think we have coming in from out of the area that puts trash in?
I don't know, we try to catch it at the gate, but, you know, I wanted to check the trash trucks coming in from Chaffey County, whether they're full when they get here. I was told we can't pull them over without a warrant.
That would be interesting.
But yeah, I'm sure there is, people that come from Summit County bring trash. I'm not sure from Chaffey County that they bring it up here, but
Yeah, and I mean, the IDs are checked at the gate, so that's basically the only mechanism we have to.
yeah, and they're supposed to have a bill or something to prove that if they don't live here, that they own property here.
Okay,
And I know the guys have been checking, I don't check everybody, but.
okay, I just, and I know it's a fine line, you start jacking up prices too much, then we start seeing trash in the woods, and it's just such a tricky dance, but this landfill needs roughly $3 million for an expansion, and you know, what I thought was 3 years is now 2 years, and you know, I think we need to put those measuring wells in first, that's the first
Yeah,
step
we've got some
down.
work that we can do right now. I'm getting close on what it'll take to put the wells in.
Yeah,
We got some tree removal to do that we can start getting done. Maybe as, firewood for residents of Lake County, come and get it, move it out of there.
yeah. Okay, well, I would like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2026-7, a resolution regarding the use and fees for Lake County landfill.
Seconded. To a vote?
Aye.
Aye. That passes unanimously. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Mike, for everything you do.
Okay, we will move on to item number 1. Discussion and consideration of resolution 2026-06, a resolution imposing a temporary moratorium of reasonable duration on the submission, acceptance, processing, or approval of any new land use application for group camp, vacation lodge, RV park and campground, private resort, guest ranch, special event facility, major entertainment event indoors or outdoors within unincorporated Lake County. Led by Ann Schneider, our Community Planning and Development Director.
Thank you so much. Candace, is it possible that I have a PowerPoint and a Teams folder to put?
Is it in the packet?
Yeah, it's in the packet, and then it's under, the temporary, the.
Number 1.
Up at the very top, And then the CPD priorities, and actually, let's pull it up. Do you want me to run it, or?
Yeah, I'll let you do it, I'm just
I'm gonna go to
just
page
share it.
to third, oh yeah, we'll share it. Oh. I bet I should have shared the screen first. Yeah, go. Okay, awesome. Thank you all. We're gonna go ahead and go into page 13 of this. And start our, oops. Okay, so I can minimize this. Okay. So just wanted to talk about the moratorium a little bit. This is the presentation that we did during our priorities session with you, but thought it would be good today just to kind of recap what this work plan is. This is really focused on the work plan and kind of the why and kind of the summary and the deliverables of this proposal for a temporary 6-month moratorium. And the presentation of the resolution for today. So really what we are identifying is that we really have an out-of-date code, and we think that we really aren't adequately looking uniformly at infrastructure. We think that we could be more consistent in our standards around emergency management and public safety. And we really want to make sure that overall we are having more consistent review standards for all these different uses. So we're going to look at kind of our core focus areas today. Some of those things, really not looking to reinvent the wheel. What are our peer communities doing? Evaluating what is adequate infrastructure, and looking at site-specific risk. We want to make sure that parcels are really uniquely looked at, or what are the constraints consistent with a certain area, and then having a more unified approach to, or more of a uniform approach to hazard mitigation and our standards. And then we really want to also be very thoughtful about the backcountry intention and meaning of what the backcountry is, and what is the cumulative effect of allowing a commercial use in the backcountry. We think those are really important aspects. And so we want to come up with a code that is easier to use for the public as well as to administer. We want things to be very transparent, and so you really have a good expectation on both sides of the table of what it means to bring in an application to develop under these different uses. We want to make sure that we're really having smart growth and responsible growth in these areas. As you know, like recently, we're very concerned this year, and I'm sure subsequent years, about fire risk. And community and environmental protections. Are we doing enough within our land development code to ensure that we really are meeting our goal of in promoting the public health, safety, and welfare of our community? So basically, the purpose meets everything that we just talked about. And what we're going to do during this time is really evaluate what are those emerging trends and uses that our code doesn't respond to. The uses that you listed, Elsa, in the moratorium title are uses that have been in the code since like 1972, maybe updated, maybe as new as maybe in the 90s, early 90s. So there just really hasn't been a look at these uses and what does it mean. So this is just an area of our code that has really gone untouched for decades. And we really want to look at what are those regulatory gaps in our code. We need to be working closely with CDPHE around some of our environmental issues, as well as our other public land partners, our other public health, emergency management. We want to make sure that we're consistent everywhere and that we're fully aligned. Of course, the whole intent behind here is promoting the overall health and safety of our community. We want to make sure that what the standards are around infrastructure really align with what development needs are too. We want to say, is there places that we could be more flexible? Is there an opportunity for that or not? But we want to look into that to a greater degree. And so overall, just coming up with a code that's more user-friendly, that's more transparent, and is easier to administer. So here is a very intentional work plan. We understand the importance of trying to do this work as timely as possible. We're also, as you know, we've also had our focus on what does CPD priorities look like this year. And we're very front-loaded with some mandatory code adoptions. We're also working on the comp plan. So this work plan is designed to kind of honor what else we've got going on in the department. So we've tried to do this very thoughtfully with a target of doing this in 6 months. That's what our hope is, and that's what our goal is. We will be communicating early in our process, midway in our process, if we would ever need to ask for an extension of time. We're really hopeful we won't, but we'll be very transparent and clear, both internally and externally about that if we find ourselves in that position. So in this first month, if the resolution is adopted, then we're going to immediately start working on our public communication and transparency plan. And we've really already started that, as you know, David has received emails as an example, assuring him that we've received his application and that he'll be exempt from the process. We also delayed bringing this to the board so that we had an opportunity to have a transparent conversation with anyone that was currently already in discussion and working on an application with us. We wanted to make sure that they understood what the moratorium would mean specific to their application and assure them that their applications would move forward. We also, talked about that what basically this process would be a bit, and if they chose to perhaps wait until the end, if there was something about particular to their application that there might be a benefit to wait till the outcome. And so keeping up with that, immediately our website will start having an FAQ on it, which gives kind of an NOI document. I always like those two when we're going to big scopes of work. Why are we doing this work? And what are some basic facts about it? It will be an input portal to receive feedback from month 1. So we're going to want to receive information that's coming in from the community about the moratorium if it were adopted, so that we can make sure those voices are part of this process. We want to establish that communication as a starting point in the process. And then we're going to really start working on our project framework. We're going to start working with coordination with our other departments, also honoring that I'm sure their plates are as full as ours. But we definitely have critical departments that we need to interface with, public health, emergency management, got a list of them as we go through, but we'll also be pivoting and obviously adding in people as we start into the work and we start the research. And so then we're just gonna start kind of assigning tasks. You know, as you probably know, we're hopefully going to be interviewing for additional staff coming up in our planning department. But we're gonna start with the first couple months of kind of developing who's going to be responsible, what scope of work. So that's our first month's worth of the plan. In month 2, this is where we're really gonna look at creating that comparative analysis and comparison for like a best practice matrix. What are other rural and resort mountain communities doing around this? How do they define it? What does their density and performance standards look like? And how do they classify these different uses? For an example, you know, the Chaffey County has adopted a part of what are state regulations around camping uses, whereas Summit County prohibits all privately owned campgrounds. So we really want to kind of look at what is the mix, what are either like communities and our adjacent communities doing, and build out that matrix. If there's any great lessons learned or good practices already in place, we want to identify those and then interview those communities and kind of gain that baseline data and information. So month 3, we're going to start going into really looking at infrastructure. We're going to look at water supply standards. What should that mean? This is when we're going to be working closely with public health and CDPHE and looking at wastewater systems, water systems, consider utilities and power capacity and access and emergency services. So we always say in planning, our first 3 building blocks are water, sewer, and access. That's where we kind of start from and then we build out from. So these are like our core foundational items that whenever we're looking at development, these are our top kind of starting places. And so we're gonna do more work around all of this and determine what are our capabilities locally to support certain programs and where are some of the better practices and environmental, definitely around an environmental lens in this part of the work. In month 4 and 5, this is when we're gonna start looking at risk, safety, and kind of really diving into our backcountry analysis. So we've talked about having the need for site-specific review, really looking at a parcel. Every parcel is unique and has different characteristics about it. So we want to make sure that we're applying consistent standards throughout these different uses. We really want to be focused on what are the best practices for impact mitigation and what should we consistently be asking applicants for to mitigate those impacts. And then really diving into what does it mean to increase the degree of use around all of these different uses in the backcountry. Knowing that this really is a zone district that the intent is to preserve and conserve. And so what does that mean if we continue to allow a commercial use? When we adopted or we rezoned, backcountry was the largest rezone Lake County has ever done in its history. And one of the stipulations in adopting the zoning by the previous board is that the department really be watchful and monitor what's happening. What is this degree of use? How much use is increasing in the backcountry and what are the impacts of it? So it feels like really the time as we're seeing I would say an increase in interest in all of the outdoor experience from a commercial standpoint. So it's really a good time to be thinking about that before we increase that use. And then in months 5 and 6, we're really gonna be prepping for our adoption and implementation. We really want to have draft regulations and amendments to the code that we've vetted with the public and we've gotten public feedback from, and that they've helped inform those draft regulations so that we are prepping and getting ready for bringing it before you for public hearing. We'll be working closely we'll have public work sessions with the Planning Commission to get an opportunity for the public to be able to bring those in real time into those work sessions, and certainly working with Matt on the legal review so that we're well prepared to bring the adoption forward for you, as well as a plan to implement. So we really feel like at the end of this moratorium, we're going to arrive at more accurate definition and use categories. We're going to have better standards around infrastructure and what type of facilities are and should be required of the uses, and a way to apply uniform standards across all the different uses. That we, again, the same with emergency management standards. For an example, asking consistently for an emergency management plan and maybe even having a good guide of what that includes for everyone. And that we've really looked at the backcountry and what does that impact mean and what type of protection should be in place to ensure. Like right now, our code allows a group camp this in the same manner it would in any other zone district. Should backcountry have a uniquely different use because maybe it has different impacts than other areas? So really have we come up with a plan to ensure the intent and protection of the backcountry. And that overall we've got a more effective code that is user-friendly on both sides. So our project management CPD is certainly taking the lead on this, but we'll be working very closely with the county attorney's office. Our policy direction will come from the Planning Commission and the board through our work sessions. And then we've identified immediately that we need the assistance of public health, emergency management, CDPHE, public works, Lake County Soils Conservation District, Lake County Water and Natural Resources, and certainly we'll be identifying other stakeholders as we look for additional support from other departments. And then this will be informed through the process, beginning in month 1, with the public feedback and input as well. And that concludes kind of our overview of what we're proposing, and happy to answer any questions or find out what you feel might be missing from our plan.
I mean, Anne, I totally get why you wanna do this. And I respect that your department needs to be able to kind of readjust your workflow and scope in lots of areas. And this is one of the tools we have to be able to help you do that. My main question is this feasible given your capacity? With the comp plan finishing, actually trying to implement some of these other major policy changes, we are really interested in cleaning up and looking at OHV. This is big, and just wondering, let's talk about capacity.
Absolutely. So I think two things that I'd like to just talk through. One is that, we're hoping to add more planning support to the department.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll take us from 2 to 3 and on the planning side of things. So that's gonna help us immediately, and we're hoping to do those interviews fairly soon. So hopefully we intentionally kind of did this. If we look back at kind of our Gantt chart of our priorities for the department, we're adding additional staffing to our team. You'll see that we're so front-ended.
Yeah.
Our first quarter is just so busy because, and into our second quarter, because we have the code adoptions that we have, and then if we look, then this of course is our comp plan.
Mm-hmm.
So that last portion is implementation. So we think that implementation of the comp plan will kind of follow and track along with the moratorium work. And I will say that we feel that this is such a needed aspect, like what we're doing right now. We're starting to see we're seeing that the planning commission and applicants are having a lot of difficulty planning commission making recommendations, and applicants having a difficult time going through the process.
Yeah.
So I think that we feel as though we need to make this a priority because of the degree of interest in opening this kind of use in Lake County. So I think the market is driving our need to make this a priority for us. And so we're hoping with the additional staff, and we're also thinking that with some, with the areas that we're focused on, that will make a huge impact overall. And so I think that we're trying to make sure with the work plan to show something that is tangible for us to manage. The only other thing that I want to be very transparent and clear with everyone about is that if we start approaching the end of that 6 month, or we get into that 4, I really think we're going to be doing a pretty deep dive at that 4 month point. If we get into that, I think by then we will know, do we need some additional time? There is a possibility, I think, that we can accomplish this if there's an understanding that if we find ourselves in that position and we're communicating early, that we may need a short extension of time. We're thinking like maybe a 3 month extension, but I want to be very honest about that. We understand both our statutory obligation in doing this, as well as the need to do this timely. But we also identify that we do have a lot on our plates. So we're hoping with the additional staff and being very mindful on not taking, I think this also communicates that we probably can't take on a lot more priorities this year. Actually, we can't do anything else than what we've got on our plates and manage the building department and the land use applications that come in. But this also means we're gonna take a pause on some land use applications. That's gonna give us some breathing room into itself a little bit too. So there's gonna be some trade-offs. We're very hopeful to have it done in 6 months. I don't think it's unreasonable, but I do want to say that if we hit, probably we'll be able to identify that about our 4 month mark if we need some additional time.
So June.
I've got a whole list of pros and cons written down about this. It's presents some pain points for people, that we've heard in the community. It also, the way things have been traditionally handled also presents pain points for people in the community. And when we came into these seats, one of the biggest and consistent thorns in our side as a BOCC has been deferred maintenance. And this feels like it falls into that category for me. I know it really sucks when the roads that you need to commute on are crumbling and falling apart. And the county's like, hey, we gotta close this road down because we gotta fix it. It causes everybody a big delay in their life, And I feel like this is the same kind of thing. It's just not a physical road, it's a system and an operation that we really need to fix. It's pretty close, but the pros of doing this and getting it out of the way and getting it consistent and dialed in now seem to outweigh the cons in my mind, because everything from being inconsistent, not being fully thorough and have a fleshed out hazard mitigation plan, especially if we're just talking about fires and stuff, and we're dealing with 30-plus-year-old codes in some regards with this, and Lake County has changed so much in that time, and since I moved here, it's changed, and some of this stuff sounds like it's from the 70s. We're going even way further back. We really need to revamp this, and the problems is that, we kind of push this outward appearance of like, great, like things are already disjointed, now we can't even get anything done. And 6 months, maybe longer, I mean, that's a huge pain in the rear. And it's a slap in the face for anyone who's positioned to start the process. I think that the guarantee that the idea that anyone who's already started kind of gets grandfathered in is at least one little bright point for anyone who's gonna be experiencing any difficulties from this, but for me personally, trying to knock down some of the deferred maintenance that we've kind of inherited is just, it has to be done, and there's no easy way to do it that's gonna make, that's not gonna cause some problems, but this just sounds like it needs to get done. And one of my hopes is that, everything's broken down in very clear delineated month by month processes, which is a great framework. If anything gets magically done faster, is there options to move stuff up in schedule? Like, are we working with outside professionals who are only scheduled for certain times? Are we gonna be able, I know by all accounts, it's like, plan for the worst, but if we're able to knock some of the stuff, you get some extra staff hired sooner than later, which will happen during this process, that could change the outlook. You guys, to regards to your capacity conversation. So is there any chance that this could happen faster?
I don't immediately see that it might happen faster, because I would hate to even put that out there.
Yeah.
Because of just all the.
Let me reword, would it even be an option if, all the stars align and?
Yeah, absolutely. We obviously can, in the moratorium, if we were to finish early. So the last moratorium that was sign code, and before that was short-term rental. So we've done a couple in the last, both of those did get, I don't think the sign code got extended, but short-term rentals did for a little bit of time. But, we ended up being able to keep most people whole during that time too. And that, that's anyone that has been in discussion with us that is close, to the point that we've got applications in from them, or we gave them the opportunity by holding off to come to you today, that opportunity to get those applications in. So, we definitely reached out and engaged with anyone that's in that space. So I think, if there is a property owner that hasn't had a communication with us, I would be surprised that they would have all of the different, that they would have their application ready much sooner than 6 months, if they haven't even engaged with us yet. Because there is a lot, as David can attest to, that goes into a submittal application. And so it does take a lot of planning on the property owner's part. So I think we've been really mindful to try to reach, anybody that we know has been in, or anybody that's actually been in communication with us about this type of use, so that we can ensure that they have an opportunity to get their application in. Anyone that hasn't even started communicating with us yet, I'm not sure how soon they would be ready. I would say it would at least take them 3 to 4 months to be ready to even go through the process.
Andy, I loved your metaphor about the roads.
Yeah.
Yep, that's really how I feel about this as well. And you've done a really good job presenting us with so we have a choice now, moratorium or not. And you've done a great job presenting us with the moratorium choice. Can you just verbally paint us the picture of what it would look like for us to not approve the moratorium?
I think we'll continue to use the code that we have. We're gonna continue, we're getting ready to adopt new OWTS regulations because of a state mandate that we have to update our OWTS regulations. We're gonna continue working on those. There's a lot of questions around our variance process for alternative non-conforming systems. So I see that's gonna be part of that adoption process anyway. So we're gonna have those conversations. We've been having thoughtful conversations about water systems and different ways that, we're already engaging with public health and looking at CDPHE standards. We're not gonna stop continuing to do the work, so that hopefully we we are creating and kind of minimizing that gap, that regulatory gap that is kind of in a gray area right now. So we're gonna continue that work, no matter what. But we're going to possibly have applications coming in and we're gonna try to manage them under the code that we have as best we can. Is that gonna feel frustrating to applicants? I kind of guarantee it will, as we're trying to close those gaps. So we can continue business as usual. Staff is still going to work on increasing the efficiencies and the clear expectation around different pieces of this. We're still going to ask for an emergency management plan, but we're trying to create that consistency. So the work will keep happening, but what we're going to do is try to juggle the demands of applications and expectations from the public of, here's my application, do this quickly, and when we can't go through as quick a process as we could when our rules and regulations are very transparent and easy to apply and understand, we're gonna have delays. We're gonna have a harder conversation. It's just gonna be more difficult to go through that. You'll probably hear some dissatisfaction from the public because of that. So we will absolutely continue on and make progress as, because these goals won't change for us. They're gonna still be there. We're still gonna want to increase the uniformity, the clear expectations, and those kind of things. I can see us making headway and changing some codes and doing those things, but we'll be simultaneously also trying to manage the applications that come in that environment. So that would be, what would happen.
So I'm hearing that the difference is, this is a priority no matter what. The difference is we can grant you capacity by helping to take some of this off your plate while you try to do it, or we can ask you to not increase your capacity and it will just take you longer to do.
Right.
Great, thank you.
I have concerns about trying to do this while we have applications coming in as well, because then we're gonna have changes implemented mid-process for people, and it's gonna create serious inconsistency, which opens the door for some argument. I hate using the word, but it sounds like it could open the county up to liability to a degree. If some people are being treated differently than others in a short enough amount of time. That's something I kind of, is my job to make sure we avoid.
I'm gonna vote for the moratorium, just to be clear. But I just wanna make sure that it's clear what we're choosing between. And I like the metaphor of the roads, and I wanna give you a clean opportunity to do this.
Thank you.
So, yeah. Any other comments, Andy, or
I
questions?
have no other comments. I will put a motion out. Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to approve resolution 2026-6, a resolution imposing a temporary moratorium of a reasonable duration on the submission, acceptance, processing, or approval of any new land use application for group camp, vacation lodge, RV park and campground, private resort, guest ranch, special event facility, major entertainment event, indoors or outdoors, within unincorporated Lake County.
Seconded. To clarify, I know it says in here that it's a reasonable length of time. It doesn't stipulate the 6 months. And how do you expect the 6 months to hold as a moratorium? Because it's not actually anywhere as 6 months.
So
It is in the actual resolution itself, Commissioner
Oh.
Thorpe. Yeah,
Got it. Thank you, so I was
Yeah.
looking at the staff report.
yeah.
Wonderful. To a vote.
Aye.
Aye. That passes unanimously. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Okay,
you, Ann.
we will move on to number 4,
Yeah, that's a tough one.
resolution. Yeah,
Sorry, it's, you know.
that's okay. I'm just gonna read it. Resolution 2026-08, a resolution regarding county classification. Led by Candace Bryans, our county manager. Candace, before we do this. Andy, is it your intention to abstain?
I'm going to abstain from this. It's for reasons we've discussed. This doesn't feel appropriate for me to vote on.
So we won't have a quorum to actually vote on.
Okay, so we can bump this, I can just ask Sandra to bump it to the next time, we do need to, I might just have to do a special to get it
Yeah.
done, it really was a timing issue for CCI.
Totally.
Yes.
What is I'm okay doing this, a special meeting anytime, just let me know, like.
Do we know when Matt Bullock is back?
He's back tomorrow.
Okay, I might just get her to try to do some, it's probably too short to do it tomorrow, but maybe Thursday.
Should I call him, see if
I've
jump on for like 2 seconds?
I've texted him, he's not getting
Yeah, I'll
back.
just ask Sandra if we can, if you guys don't mind, sometime Thursday morning do a special, cause that's really why it's on today, is we needed it for CCI.
Yeah, no problem.
Thursday morning.
If you look at my calendar, I'm available after 10.
Yeah, I think Wednesday, I'm stacked top to bottom, but Thursday is not. Yeah. Thursday.
That's that.
To be revisited.
Could we just, if we have the option, tack it on close to that Board of Health meeting?
Sure.
Okay, like 2 to 2:15 or something?
I don't know if I'll be able to do that. But you look at me.
4:15 to 4:30?
I can do it after Board of Health.
I'll see if Sandra can do
Perfect.
Thank you. Okay, and sorry, I'm just double checking that Matt is back, but I'm pretty sure he is. Yeah, it says he's back tomorrow. Okay, getting back to my notes, hold please. We will move on to, do we need to table that, Matt, based on Robert's rules?
Yeah, I could
To a date
add a little
uncertain.
context for anyone.
Yeah, I think it's probably best to just go ahead and table it.
Alright, can I get a motion to table it, please?
I would like to make a motion to table agenda item number 4, resolution 2026-08, a resolution regarding county classification.
And could you stay till when?
I would like to table this until a special meeting can be scheduled for Thursday at 4:15 PM.
Seconded. To a vote?
Aye.
Aye. Alright, that is tabled. Next, agenda item number 5, discussion and consideration of an IGA between Lake County and Mesa County for economic assistance services, led by Laura Cruz, our Human Services Director.
Dr. T.
Yes, please. With deference. Thank you. Lower.
I do not approve of that.
So back in mid-December, we had a staff member that was covering CCAP, as well as our security administration and our grant management.
I'm listening to you.
Okay, it's okay. Squirrel, sorry. And so, that staff member left us, and I've been with all of the changes on a finance perspective, and just trying to position ourselves to be able to respond to a lot of these changes as much as possible as we can. We would like to enter into an IGA with Mesa County Department of Human Services to manage our CCAP or Colorado Child Care Assistance Program,
application processing piece of it.
Mhm.
So doing the administrative side of it. I think this will be a good pilot for us this year and few months, for us to work with them. We have a pretty small caseload, and most small counties have a pretty small caseload. So I'm wanting to see over the next year and few months, like how this is going to impact us in a positive way. Working with Mesa, which I'm more than likely it's going to impact us in a positive way so that we can serve more kids through the program. We will still maintain a partial FTE to do the boots on the ground work here in the community, so outreach and also managing our partnership with Bright Start. So Mesa County currently is on a CCAP freeze, so they can't add any more CCAP participants because they don't have any more money or slots for them to add. So they're looking for work to do. And so I'm happy to give them some work to do. This is a program that I struggle with having a full FTE committed to, just because of the small caseload and having to pay $100,000 a year for a human just to manage a small caseload. So this is getting creative.
To manage a caseload of like 12,000? How much money is that?
Oh,
person
right now
actually
it's right now we're spending about 36,000 a year with Bright Start. So for the kids,
So
right?
that's silly.
It's silly.
So we should just give somebody $100,000 if that's what we're doing.
Well, so what I've done is written the IGA for $70,000 for now until the end of state fiscal year 2027.
Yeah.
Partially because I don't wanna have to come right in front of you again in June,
July, yeah.
June, July.
Mhm.
And so what I'll be doing is tracking expenditures with Mesa County just to see what our cost savings is going to be. They're going to be billing us just basically on their time and administrative expenses. And so that'll give us a good clue moving forward as to how many kids we can enroll in the program beyond what we already have.
So it's up to 70, but it doesn't have to be that full amount.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Changes some of my
We had
questions.
budgeted $96,000 for program administration, of our 172,000, I think, of our total allocation. And so this
Wait, what do you mean 172 of your total allocation? What allocation?
CCAP.
Oh, okay.
And so we're spending more money on a human to implement the program than actual helping kids.
Right.
So we're trying to get closer to we're being able to provide more direct service.
Okay, so just to be clear, we get 172 from CCAP. We spend 100 of that on the human to be able to access about 36,000 for the kids.
Yeah, so we have more room to enroll more kids
Right.
on CTAP right now.
Right.
And so our goal is to increase that ability. What's crazy, when I first started, we only had one CCAP participant for I don't know how many years. And now we're up to 6. We have more in the queue that have applied.
Nice.
And so we're hoping to, if they're eligible, to be able to move them into slots.
So is that person gonna be doing it all remotely from Mesa?
They will.
Okay.
But we still have the boots on the ground individual partial FTE that will be helping people out with face-to-face application needs.
Wow. That is just so wild.
It's
So
a
inefficient.
bit of a jumble, but far more savvy number crunchers than me have probably taken a look at this and determined that this is the most fiscally responsible path forward for the county.
It is,
Yes.
and it's a better impact, like we're spending less money on getting the task done and more money on the people who we're trying to get the task done for.
Totally.
Okay.
And I think that's where we hashed this out quite a bit because Laura's had some staffing changes and every week her allocations change.
Yeah.
They're there, they're not there, they're gone again, they're back. So for us, trying to figure out the best jigsaw puzzle of provide the best services at the lowest cost, not knowing what will happen with our funding in the future, we felt that this was the best path forward.
And it's tricky because on the surface, it kind of reads like, why aren't we just paying someone locally to do it all? And then, we're providing a better job, we're spending similar-ish amounts of money, but, the bottom line is, for me, especially right now, the county in dollars and cents and, getting the most bang for our buck, as well as, how do we save every penny we can.
Well, and this is allocation money, it's not
Yeah.
our general fund money.
It's still taking that approach of like getting the best bang for our buck
Totally.
helps across the board, with other aspects.
It's way more efficient.
Well, and I also within this program, all of our programs, I have to think a lot about sustainability moving forward.
Yeah,
CCAP was actually one that was on my radar last year. The state's been under scrutiny by the feds because we didn't incorporate a provider increase back 4 years ago, and I don't know, somebody didn't read the memo. And so now we've been in a 3-year cycle of having to do provider increases based upon the new federal guidelines. And so we've been ramping up to that. Next year is our 3rd year in the cycle. Next state fiscal year is our 3rd year in the cycle to actually become in compliance with the feds. So we're paying more per child as well. So having to keep that on the radar as we continue. I'd much rather have people have access to direct services and needs. The more kids that we can enroll in CCAP that are eligible, the better off we are overall for the county, in my opinion, because that means we have parents that can actually work, that if they don't have childcare, they can't work. So things like that.
Laura, how did you connect with Mesa County to set up this IGA?
So Jill Calvert is the director of Mesa County, and when I was at CCI, my staff member had just resigned, and I was just like, hey, I need some help. And what's frustrating about all of our programs is that the state can't step in and actually do this work for us. We have to contract out with another county when we have like a gap in staffing, which takes time. I mean, it has to go through Matt, it has to go through their legal, it takes a lot of my time when I'm trying to absorb that person's job.
Yeah.
So Jill said, hey, I have staff members, we're on a freeze that really would like to work on y'all's cases. And this is their first time working with the county in this capacity, so it'll be fun for both of us to kind of work through that.
Let me ask Matt a question before he has to leave here in 2 minutes. Matt, anything looks like a sticking point or anything of concern with the IGA that you've seen?
No, I mean, we've already vetted it, and I think went back and forth between Laura and myself and Mesa a few times already. So I think it's good to go from my perspective. Yeah, and I do need to jet here in a minute or two. So any other questions, I'm happy to answer on that issue.
Thanks, Matt.
None for me. Thanks for putting in the work on that.
Yeah. Okay. Before I go, I see Heath's presentation is up next, and I just wanted to thank him for that presentation he put together. It looked like a lot of time went into that from his department, and it was valuable for me to see that. So appreciate that. Okay. See y'all.
Thanks, Matt. Hope we don't hear
Thanks,
from you.
Thanks.
Remember, there's no service in Valley.
I've heard. Laura, this feels a little bit like a test case for the regional
Oh.
stuff.
Well,
Funny.
I think I told you, we've been working with a consultant, Mathematica, through a Gary grant, and high level, big picture ideas. We were doing the whole sticky situation. You put that on the wall, and like one of the things that I put on the wall 20 minutes before we heard about districting was regionalizing some of these programs. While I don't necessarily support the approach that the state's been taking with that,
Yeah,
and I've been pretty vocal about it,
yeah,
I think that the counties are coming up with a better plan to serve our communities by noticing that we do need to do some of this consolidated supportive work in a more easier fashion. I would love to not have to do this IGA situation for every little thing that we may need when we have a gap. If we can be more mobile in the way that we structure ourselves moving forward, that's not only going to save us money, but it's going to save us a lot of heartache trying to do this.
Yeah.
So.
yeah, I see that it's just a tiny piece of it, and I would hate to quilt all the services,
Yeah.
but I like that we get to try.
Yeah.
Before we're told.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Cool.
Then, anything else, any further questions, comments, concerns? Alright, I'm gonna ask for a motion to,
No, you're gonna move.
I'm gonna move to, make a motion
You're gonna.
to, approve, the intergovernmental agreement between Lake County and Mesa County for economic assistance services.
Seconded to a vote.
Aye,
Girl.
sorry, old habits die hard.
Aye. Okay,
Aye.
that passes. Thank you so much,
Thanks.
Laura.
Y'all did great.
Thank you. You're natural born leader. Okay, second to last, but definitely not least. Number 6, our overview and presentation of the Lake County Sheriff's Office 2025 annual report led by Sheriff Heath Speckman.
Echoing what Matt said, I was flipping through that and was just like, wow, this is so nice.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh my goodness. Really wanna open this for you, it's just really struggling here. There you go.
Presentation.
Just a PDF, so.
Sorry. Candace, I know it says we're screen sharing, but do we know that it's this one that we're screen sharing?
Look,
Do you mind just double checking?
I think it was this screen, I think it should be, but we'll.
Okay, thank you, yeah. Awesome.
We'll just click share again, just be safe. There we go.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It might be the best you can
I was
do.
gonna try to,
Zoom out,
zoom out.
The little plus down
it goes in.
What?
there. Good luck.
Yeah, that's better. Oops.
Yeah, I'm trying to use my.
Do you mind stopping for a second? Matt is calling us. What's up, Matt? Hey. No, other way. We are an hour and 20 minutes into it. Yeah. It's okay, we're gonna have a special meeting and catch back up with you on Thursday. It's okay. No worries, you just have safe travels, we'll see you later. Okay. Andy abstained from voting on the tiers because it would impact his salary. Yeah, so don't worry, we'll just do a special. Okay, no worries, see you later, bye. Sorry, thank you, everybody, go for it.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for the time this afternoon. But mainly thank you to Andrea and her team. They put this together, so
It's beautiful.
yeah, they did an outstanding job. We've done this each year, it keeps getting better and better each year. This one, I'm super proud of the results, so thank you so much for this. And we'll go through it. We still need to figure out how to make this accessible to the public with the new standards that are out. We had these on the website at one point, got to pull them down so that we can meet all the accessibility standards. So we'll work on that, make sure that this is easy for the public to access and that we're in compliance with the new standards.
Can we talk to Matt about that, please? Matt Hobbs, cause it's,
No, it was part of the whole website renovation.
I think that our current attorney
Okay.
reads that statute differently from our previous one, so it should be really easy to pop a PDF of it.
Perfect, yeah, we'll get that out because we want this as accessible as possible.
Yeah, great.
So this is the full annual report. We'll go through word by word here, but just help people navigate it. We have a table of contents that goes through the different components here. I do start off with a note to the community. A couple things that I wanted to pull out of this for the group today was really the responsibility aspect of how I perceive my role as the sheriff. It is an accomplishment, but it's not something that I'm just, hey, I'm proud I made it to this sheriff position. I'll actually take it as a responsibility, something that each day I look at as something that I have to work hard towards, making sure that I'm meeting all the obligations and satisfying the public that I serve. So it is a daily goal of mine. I recently heard it put this way with related to professional athletes. You see a lot of times, football especially, people work their whole career, whole childhood to get it to the NFL. And once they get there, you have two different types of reactions. You have somebody who takes it as, I got there, I'm excited to be here. And then you have the other reaction is, I'm here, oh boy, it's time to perform.
Just starting.
I'm on the main screen now. And so that's the avenue that I take. Also, I pull in there just a little bit of a reflection, and I thought about day one. It was May 9th of 2022. It was a crazy day. And looked at it, we had 4 certified deputies at that moment. We're up to 14 full-time certified officers at this point, 2 that are in addition to 14, 2 are part-time. We have 1 in the academy, so we've seen some tremendous growth there, in addition to improving our standards. We look at the administrative section, how backlogged we were. Evidence was a disaster. I don't know how else to say it, but we've made a ton of corrections on there. We have 7 staff members now that are making sure we're hitting all those requirements. The situation with handling our inmates, when I first started, we were in multiple different counties, and every day it was a call of desperation to multiple different counties on what do we do? Can't house them here. Can you take them? No. Can you take them? No. And it was just turmoil, and it's been a very important requirement that we're responsible for in the county. It's to the point now where we have a really solid IGA with Chaffey County. We have an amazing relationship with them. It is truly the best option for us out of all the county jails to function the way we do now. Also, the dispatch center was another situation where there were times where we only had 3 employees for a 24/7 hour service, which is that first touch point for all emergencies, to a point now where we have a dispatch center managed underneath an authority board that's not just helping out with making decisions for all the main users, but also helping out from a funding standpoint. We have an amazing new dispatch director that's bringing some good experience and leadership to the table. So just a crazy transformation in that section also. So really across the board, we're always dealing with something, but it's important to take some time to look back on where we were, where we're at now, and then in the future, that we still want to take that path of advancement, which we'll talk a little bit more later. What's super important to me is our mission, vision, and values. The reason for this is we can try to evaluate every situation, come up with a procedure for every situation, have policies. Our policy manual is extensive to try to address all the different potential scenarios. But at the end of the day, we can't figure out every situation and every possibility. So we use this as the gap filler. What do we do when we don't know? Our policy doesn't define exactly how do we handle the situation. And a big part of all those are going to be our values. This is something we push hard, keep it simple, But if we focus on integrity, service, and excellence, that will make sure that we're accomplishing what we need to accomplish, even when we're not quite sure what to do. And I tell staff members all the time is if you're leading with honesty, you're leading with integrity, and you're leading with understanding that our role and responsibility in this industry is to serve the public, and that you take it a step beyond, and where the standard of excellence is something new. And it's not just to do the job, but it's to do it to your best ability. In 2025, we made some strides towards our overall goal, hiring 12 new employees into 3 different divisions. We had 5 for patrol, 4 for our combo of port security and detentions, and then 3 new hires for our operational support division. And through a little advertisement barcode there, so if you're interested in our new positions for 2026, there's a simple way to access the hiring page. I'm gonna try to zoom out on this one, get a bigger view of it. All right, so this is a cool visual representation of where we're at now. This is a chart that we've modified throughout the years. The goal initially through our strategic planning was to make sure that we have enough folks to serve our community and meet all our different requirements. And that came through a lot of studying of stats, what's normal, how do we compare to other areas, just from a safety standpoint, and how we operate in Lake County. So taking into consideration all those different functions, this is our 2026 organizational chart. I flipped it upside down to believe that all the different requirements of sheriff is established in statutes, required by the Constitution, so we serve the people of Lake County. It's also required to have an undersheriff, and then from there, we have to make sure we're doing all the job. So I put ourselves at the bottom so we can focus on making sure that our employees have the tools to do the job necessary that they're out there doing every single day. The color code here is blue represents the positions that we're currently filled right now, and purple represents new additions plus some vacancies. This includes part-time, which is something new that we established. We use the Colorado Rangers quite often, and I'd like to have a little more of a connection to the community through a part-time group of folks. So on the top right there, you'll see that small division that was built for a part-time role. And so their focus is to help out with events, to help out fill in vacation, sick time, things like that. And so we have 2 right now. We're hoping to grow that into a total group of 5. Some additional specialties, again, in the top right corner for patrol is all top. But the top right is our specialty. This is where we see things like our animal control specialists, school resource officers, investigators or detectives, and then the part-time group, and they'll be led by a sergeant. The other 2 on the left of the top are our different sides of the week. So we have patrol deputies that work what we call the front side of the week, which is Sunday through Wednesday, and then Wednesday through Friday is the other side of the week, and they're split up into 2 different teams with a ratio of supervisors to employee that I appreciate, so we can keep in close contact with each other. And that's led by a patrol captain, which is, so that top portion represents all the patrol division, led by a patrol captain. The bottom left is going to be Andrea's division with all administrative functions. And so what we have here are beyond just what you would think is administrative, with records requests, with finance, grant management, reports, civils, is also the evidence section. So evidence is responsible for a lot in our county. We'll go over a full page with them. Andrea's in charge of them. And then also our victim services. So Victim Rights Act requires us to provide certain services to victims, and we have a dedicated unit for that. And one way we hope to grow that this year is through a volunteer. So if someone's looking to volunteer to help out victims, we wanted to expose that opportunity, and that's available now this year. And then the bottom right portion is our detention division. This is something that this has gone through the most renovations. So there's been talk of a jail, no jail, a small jail. You know, we made a lot of efforts on the legislative front last year to make sure that what we're doing fits into law. And so we're pretty happy with this end product on how we mainly are a transportation agency. However, we're still responsible for not only transportation, but also the booking of every new arrest, and to handle anything that comes out of the courts too. So we combine court security and detentions. And so that division is also led by a captain. And as you can see, that's a position that we're making available later this year. Because right now it's been the undersheriff and I running that, and we hope to find a dedicated person with the experience to take us to the next level. So we lean heavily on Erica to take care of our budgeting and our accounting and our invoices. She does a great job with that, and with good oversight from me. The big things we want to point out here are the one that's quite obvious for the whole county. As you guys know, the most expensive category is going to be personnel. But that we also have a decent sized professional service budget. Just to pull a couple words out of there, it's for medical and mental health services for detainees, legal and investigative support, and all our specialized technical services that we have to make sure we're operating correctly. This is also something that we take very seriously. We talk about often. We want to be good stewards of our public funds. We want to make sure that we're being held accountable to our taxpayers. And so anything we can do to be more transparent on what we're doing, having that, just our full systems exposed. So next I'm going to jump into some stats, some big stats related to each division. So I want to start off with operational support. So this is everything to help support the frontline folks. And a lot of what they do is frontline work also. It's required by statute. So without their support, a lot of our systems would crumble. We would also be missing a lot of essential tasks that we're supposed to do. So I'll roll through these. If you guys want to sit on any numbers, just let me know. We did 77 concealed handgun permits in 2025. We did 312 civil processes, with 276 of those were successful. Oftentimes we run into situations where they're no longer living there, or we can't find the person, but still at almost a 90% success rate. And then that top number represents just how many attempts that we take to get those 312 done. We had 15 sex offender registrations, 163 records requests, and over 1,100 cases that the administrative staff submitted for approval for that were criminal related. Also underneath operational support is our evidence section. That's Shane and Hannah. Hannah's one of our new hires that we hired to focus on digital evidence. So we can jump to that bottom left number. You can see almost 13,000 different pieces of digital evidence were uploaded, and we found that was too much for one person to handle that. Plus, as you can see, Shane was managing on over 5,000 individual items in our evidence section, which recently got rained on, but we got that fixed. But in 2025, there's a leak.
I'm like,
That's a bummer.
But we got that taken care of and preserved. So really cool stats to dive into. If you guys have a moment, look for me to go through there. But they're small but mighty in all that they do in that little room down there. And also a great note, they're both very proactive. They love going to scenes, helping us mark evidence, take good photos of the scene, make sure that we're preserving everything from ground up. And so very proud of them.
can I ask a question about trends going back a year or two before this? How fast is digital evidence workload ramping up? Like I would imagine if you looked at 22, 23, 24, and then 25, like what's that chart looking like? And how, I guess what I'm alluding to is how long are we even gonna be able to get by on just two people running that?
Yeah, it's, well, a large part of that is gonna be related to Senate Bill 217 that came out in 2020 that required the body-worn camera. And so, yeah, that's where we're gonna see the spike is as that unfolded, different agencies took part in it earlier, some waited till the deadline when it was required. So, yeah, imagine over the past 2 years, it's just a tremendous spike.
The DA has said something real similar about, I forget the exact number, but she talked about how many hours of digital evidence they had to review, it was like astronomical, and I have concerns about, as a, you know, I know this is a big department for Lake County, but it's still, in the grand scheme of Colorado, probably a small department. How do we handle that? Is there any, I don't know, any lights on the horizon with AI being able to review video footage or something? I don't know what it.
There's the AI industry is stepping into the law enforcement realm pretty fast right now, and that is a component of it. So we might be able to use technology to offset the need for staff hours. However, there will always be a need. There should always be a process to review. I know there was a recent article about AI writing somebody's report for them. They didn't review it. It turned the officer into a frog, and we don't want that. So there's always gonna be a human element touch to it.
That's not gonna hold up very well.
Doesn't look good, but it could take a bulk of the work off of us. It's still super early to.
Yeah, it's not a magic cure-all, nowhere near it.
So reporting is another big job of the Operations Support Division, the report to the Department of Criminal Justice, the report to the FBI, and state and feds use this to just look at stats, see trends. And so these are our specific numbers. This is so it's commonly referred to as NIBRS. It's the National Incident-Based Reporting System. It's underneath the Uniform Crime Reporting for the FBI. And these are the major categories. There's a lot of different charges underneath each one of these. Pretty easy information for the public to find if they're curious about exactly what these numbers represent or mean. These are just our Lake County numbers, so people can see what we're doing there. So 54 crimes against persons, 32 against property, 15 against society, and then 115 were reported as nonviolent crimes.
What is a crime against society? How does that get classified?
It's really, kind of look at it as almost victimless, and there's gonna be a victim at some point, you know, but if there's like illegal manufacturing of something, you know, it's not maybe a direct victim in the moment, it affects society as a whole more so.
Like a copyright violation?
Copyright stuff. Then with our victim service team here, they served 67 different victims throughout 2025 and provided 772 different services. And those services are related to compensation, emergency hotel stays, groceries, just anything we can do to help them out. And the graph represents the ages that they deal with. And as you can see, a large part of the victims that we deal with are between the age of 25 to 29. And they had a good presence at the National Night Out.
I mean 25 to 59.
25 to 59, sorry.
Yeah, just, it's quite a range.
It is,
Yeah.
it is. So moving on to our patrol division, this is a lot of what we see. One of the things I hope to display through our annual report is just to show how much different things the sheriff's office does. But this is probably the most public facing, is those that are out on the road, responding to calls for service, engaging with the public the most, and they're just the most visible. So in 2025, we received a total of 6,209 calls, and those are calls through our emergency communications center that last year received a total of 9,300 calls. So you see we get a bulk of those. And then about a little over 4,000 of those were in unincorporated Lake County. Go over a couple different types of arrests that they'll encounter. So they had 125 probable cause arrests. And so what this means is the law enforcement officer had probable cause to believe that a suspect had committed a crime. The other version of an arrest would be a warrant. And the warrant has gone through the process with the courts and the judge approves it, found probable cause, and then there's a warrant issued for that person's arrest. So it's a breakup of those two styles of arrests that happened in 2025. A couple other big ticket items that I know are important for us to start to understand to evaluate other situations in our county is DUIs and domestic. Domestic's a heavy topic that is just constantly at the top of our mind. We had 63 different domestic violence types of situations, but these can vary. This could be a verbal altercation where we go there and we're able to separate parties. There's no crime, but something was brewing. And so that's included in there. Some of them go to a crime point where we have to make an arrest. It's a must arrest situation. If there's a domestic violence, we have probable cause for the arrest, we will arrest, and they will see a judge before they can bond out. So the judge can take appropriate steps in that situation to try to prevent further violence.
Is it normal for DV numbers to be higher than DUI numbers?
I don't know. I mean, it's a good question. I think it's a recent stat I looked through. It just showed domestic violence throughout the state of Colorado, and we're one of the highest. So I would say using that and just kind of guessing a little bit, I would say that it probably is a little unusual to have that number higher than DUIs.
Isn't it also though about patrolling, like it really depends, it's not just that like this is how many happened, it's like this is how we responded and
Right.
tracked it.
Right, yeah, so are you trying to speak to situations that weren't reported?
Yeah, I'm just saying like I'm sure there are a lot of DUI situations that don't get
Oh,
caught
100%.
because we don't
Right, yeah, so.
do that, whereas you.
Right. Yeah, and that kind of goes to a bigger point too, of watching these numbers year after year is important to see trends. However, one thing we have to realize is that until we're fully staffed and really have that presence and ability to respond to everything, we're not gonna quite figure out what our exact numbers are.
Right.
And then once we figure those numbers out, then that's a time to really implement some plans and programs to, okay, this is baseline for Lake County, how do we reduce these numbers? We still take those reduction efforts, so it's not like we're just pausing and waiting.
Yeah.
But we don't know what those end numbers are gonna look like until we can really get full staffed.
Well, and I guess that what I'm saying is that it's not necessarily like, is that the trending activity? It's like, is that trending reporting? Is that trending policing? Like, it's not just, oh, we have more
Yeah, these are hard facts.
DUV than DUI.
Yeah, these are numbers in our system, so.
Right.
We're definitely missing, reporting's another valuable aspect of
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Yes. Traffic stops, we had almost 700 in 2025. We do listen to the community. We hear oftentimes of problematic zones, speeding at this area, speeding at that area. We do our best. If you want me to take notes, everybody has their neighborhood or their street, and it's brought to our attention a lot. We do our best. We get that information out to patrol. Hey, we got a new problem zone. Let's go out there and make a presence. And we like to look at this not only as an enforcement, but it's we're holding people accountable to their actions, but it's also an education opportunity. And so we want to make sure that we're not just out there scratching a bunch of tickets, but that we're using this as an opportunity to explain why it's important to follow our traffic laws. We had 256 traffic crashes, which is a lot. Days like today really increased that number.
Yeah.
Over 1,100 criminal cases. All right, moving on to detentions, and so this is a combination of court security and any inmate movement or bookings. And so the two numbers there, we had 179 inmate transports. This does include cross-country stuff. So if we have somebody who's arrested in Florida, let's say, and they have a nationwide extraditable warrant out of our county, we commonly contract with a third-party company to go out there and get them for us. We've done it ourselves before. It's quite the strain on our staffing to do it if we have to go out of state. We have the ability to do it, it's just not ideal. So mostly we contract with that, so it does include those two. Total bookings, this is everybody who was processed in our jail, it's 285. But it also includes, this isn't just Lake County Sheriff's Office arrest, this is all, anybody in our jurisdiction that makes an arrest, including CSP or even if Forest Service has a new arrest, they'll come through our jail. Court security folks upstairs, they do a great job up there doing a combination of bailiff style work and court security. We're able to track some numbers now with a new scan machine there. You can see that over 11,000 total scans of people going in and out, and that's then making sure that they don't have anything they're not supposed to have as they go into the courtroom. And they do a great job out there. We had 8 jury trials this year. As you know, another component of the Sheriff's Office is search and rescue. got a great team, and we usually have around 40 to 50 total volunteers with a leadership team of the board. And their treasurer Joy has been great this year, or last year with grants and balancing their fundraising efforts. So new equipment to really help them do the job. The boat was a big one.
Saw that snowmobile.
Yep, and the snow machine.
If you need someone to make sure it's running okay and go spin some laps, let me know.
Sounds
I'll
good.
sign a waiver.
All right, good to know. But they had 76 total calls. And as you can see, they put in a ton of training time. I get those notifications all the time, so they stay on top of that. And they've created a standard for the team to make sure that everybody stays up with their training requirements. And they engage in the community too. So anytime that we have some sort of community event, we invite them and be able to join us. Speaking of community events, this is something that's important for us, and we try to get out. Even though we're busy, low staff, we want to make this as a priority. So we're able to get out to the Legacy Foundation. This is a tradition that's been going on for over 4 decades through the race series. And the connection there is really to bring in first responders with gift giving. And so we were able to partake in that. We also did our own giving tree. How many families did we? 23, that's so we were able to get to 23 Lake County families this year through the Giving Tree. Search and Rescue helped us with that. So that's a really cool event. We've done it before. We just all assemble here. We have a list of gifts for every single family, and then we all spread out. We had fire, EMS, Search and Rescue invited everybody. Grab the gifts. Okay, you're going to this house. You're going to this house. We bring them dinner for the night. For pizza, and gave them gifts. The kids, parents knew, the kids didn't know, so it was a true pleasure to see exactly in the kids' face. Something new we did this year was an end of the year celebration. So not so much just with the community, but we invited all our first responder folks. We had Search and Rescue there, the police department was there, even the Colorado Rangers came out. And we had a really nice awards ceremony. We gave out awards to the top employees for each division. And then also gave out a couple life-saving awards. So it's important that we paused and recognize those folks.
I apologize, you keep saying Colorado Rangers, is that state patrol?
No, it's a Colorado law enforcement agency for volunteers.
Oh, okay.
And so they are certified, and so they work with different counties to do contract work, essentially.
Okay.
So we bring them out for the race series and whatnot.
Oh, cool.
So they really help us get through our events. So the team did a great job putting together all these different events, making sure we're participating in as much as we can, making a presence in parades. The vehicle decorations have definitely stepped up a notch, so looking pretty good. And it's a cool opportunity just to pause and see the community we serve in positive light. So we enjoy taking part in those things. We've also joined the trunk or treat for Halloween. And National Night Out is something that we've done every year, and that's just a time to pause, get engaged with the community, come see what we have. It is nationally, it's focused on law enforcement, but we love inviting all our first responder friends. And in all honesty, the kids like the fire trucks better than ours, so.
Easy, you can't compete.
Yeah.
Lots of flashing lights.
Mm-hmm. And we've also used it as a fundraising opportunity to help support some of our nonprofits like Tree Chops or the Child Advocacy Center. So we bring them out and actually have food that we can sell and help raise money for that. We have a lot of big goals in 2026. It's finishing up last year, my first term. Something we wanted to get started, we're a little ahead of schedule on that I'm pretty proud of, is our efforts towards an accreditation. So we're using CALEA, which is the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies. It's very renowned, it's used across the state, they're very familiar with Colorado, and it's been one of the big projects for Andrea, so she's hanging in there so far. But what this is great, because this is bringing to us what are the standards across the country in a law enforcement agency. We're not just trying to figure it out ourselves. When I look at bigger picture things of developing this agency is we need to, again, going back to the organizational chart, we need to make sure we have enough people to properly serve our community, We gotta make sure they're trained correctly, we gotta make sure that we have the right policies and procedures in place. And this is gonna expose everything to us, the good, the bad, the ugly, we're gonna address it all. This is gonna be a multi-year project, and we're starting it now in 2026. Another goal of ours in 2026 is to hit our full staffing. So back to the staffing point, I created a build program over the past, that was gonna take 4 years, so the past 3 years, and then finalizing it this year. So we're pushing hard to make sure that we get all those positions filled. So we roll into 2026. With this underway, making some good progress on the accreditation and having the right people in the right place. So part of our annual report, we're gonna make sure we give a shout out to our local partners that we work closely with. Some information on them, and then we're just closing it out with a contact information page, just to make sure that people have access to every avenue possible to get with us. Anything else you'd like to do? You want to start between the beginning and go over it all?
Yeah.
Really well done, thank you all so much for doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Heath, is this statutory or is this something that is just important to you that you provide?
It's important, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's
important.
So not every county has a report like this coming out, or even close remotely, anything, oh wow.
Some counties have weekly like video drops from their sheriff about how
Oh, yeah.
much they hate the commissioners instead of a nice
Okay.
report.
Yeah.
It's quite a gambit out there. I really appreciate this, yeah, if you had, I know that Matt's out of town for the next week, but
Yeah, we'll do.
I'm sure we'll be able to get it on the
Okay,
website.
perfect, yeah, and we have our prior years too, so.
Yeah.
So when it comes to some of the historic information that you wanna see, I think it would be cool, maybe a different report, I don't know, maybe something we incorporate in future years is a comparison.
Yeah.
You know, what have the last few years looked like,
Some trends.
some trend, and then really start tracking the trends. So I really think that trends is going to start exposing itself over the next handful of years.
Yeah.
We still need time to develop those numbers.
Yeah.
But then we can really make some really good decisions based off of that. And we're trying to now. We just
Yeah.
understand that it's not the most accurate way to go about fully dedicating our time towards it. Any questions?
Presence patrol wise, I know that's always been a challenge. And I see 3 positions there that are looking to be filled. Do you think those they look like more of leadership positions instead of patrol deputies? Will that really open up the capability for more presence on the people in the zones that are going 3 times the speed limit consistently and things of that nature that,
Yes.
okay,
Yes, definitely, and we have really dove into the numbers to try to determine what that total count should be.
yeah,
It is very baseline, so back to the organization chart, that is baseline for us. So when I say we're not fully staffed, because those positions are filled. It was a very no fluff approach, we just like, where are we at? What numbers can we absorb? What is done across the state, across the nation? And that's it. So when we fill that, then the hope is to be able to address those base needs. And then from there, we can start looking and exploring additional programs. Things like, something that's always been on our mind is developing our own co-responder program to help deal with mental health issues, or maybe even developing a cadet program, explorer program, so we can really think of the long game here when it comes to pipeline, hiring people. And so, just addressing that initial need of our community is the purpose of that.
cool.
Keith, our first year at CCI sat in on this workshop with CDOT, for CDOT to be able to come out and implement traffic safety measures. It has to be requested by the county with data from our partners, whether it's Road and Bridge or the sheriff.
Okay.
I'm just wondering, like, have you worked with previous BOCCs to try to implement any of that, like especially up on 91, where it's hard to get presence, but clearly it's a really dangerous area? Like, have you worked with previous BOCCs on that at all?
There was some discussion around like the automatic tickets and seeing if that was a proper enforcement effort to help slow things down. But I haven't taken any conversation to CDOT to see what those possibilities are.
Okay, so my impression is that we have to bring our own data for them, to
Okay.
trigger them to come out to collect their own data.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So we can't actually request a specific thing. We have to ask CDOT
To do their own study.
to do their own study, but we have to provide the data that triggers them to wanna come out.
Okay,
And I just wanted to say I'd be really happy to
okay, let's do that.
collaborate so that we could get
Let's do that.
something out. Okay,
Yeah, those stats should be 200 below.
cool, that'd be great,
Yeah, I'm gonna deliver to you guys.
awesome.
How do we handle animal control stuff in the absence of having a current animal control officer? I've got some concerns from our partners across the street about trying to get caught up on training for intake of animals. And I'm just trying to figure out how we close that gap so that we know on the sheriff's department end that the process is being done in a way that holds the owners of the animals accountable so that the animal shelter can recoup their costs. What I've got now is that, probably a bigger conversation for a different time. But what does that look like right now, just in brief? Who's covering that aspect of things?
Yeah, so it does fall on the deputies, in this period right now, but, we just actually sent out an offer letter today to somebody who's already certified, as an animal control officer, has experience as an animal control officer, and is actually quite excited to come here and start to fill some of those gaps. So I do think that is a, like when I look at how to solve things, that is a person-related issue where I want a staff member who's in charge of that, telecommunicate between the animal shelter, translate what all these different things mean to a patrol deputy, so if she's not on duty, that the situation, so I should probably get her started sooner than later.
Cool. Okay.
I have one last question.
Yeah, please.
And this will be really niche question,
Okay.
but I'm curious, were you part of moving the I know the security out here has changed a lot over the years, and it's been cute to watch, but were you part of the moving the security checkpoint to up there as opposed to being, like in front of the courts, as opposed to being down here?
We explored this option a little bit.
Yeah.
Under my administration, I've never put a full-time staff member down there, so if that was a thing of the past, I'm not too sure when that transaction happened to upstairs. But we've explored that. I think it's something that I'd love to continue the conversation with you guys on what would you like from a security standpoint. I would feel comfortable taking that on if that's an additional security element you guys want in this building. And we have a couple different options on how we can do that. It's not, the building wasn't designed for it.
No.
And where we live, we have to take that into consideration too, of elements outside.
Totally.
Especially if you have like a big trial day or something like that, or voting, things of those natures where there's a lot of people coming in. But I think there is a solution there. Depends on what you guys want. I'd be happy to work with you guys on providing additional security down here if that's what you guys are thinking.
It'd be great to chat about that, just because we're the only courthouse that's not a secure courthouse in the state.
Right.
So, yeah, it'd be great to have that conversation, and we got that report from
Okay.
DHS.
Yeah.
That I'm pretty sure I forwarded on to everybody. If you don't have it, let me know.
Yeah, I'll check, and if I can't find it, I'll let you know.
Okay, yeah, I'd be happy to debrief that whole report
Okay.
sometime if you're available.
Perfect.
Cool, thank you. That's all, thank you. This was wonderful, well done, beautiful production.
It's a lot of hours.
Yeah, I bet.
I can tell, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
And it's
Okay.
great for the community too, to be able to have the option for anyone who wants to dive into this information and see, I didn't see where your professional photographer is on your employee.
She's under my department.
Because all your guys' pictures are exquisite.
Yeah, we have some
Most
skills.
of those are my pictures too,
Well
just
done.
cell phone. Like we're out on scene, oh, this would be a good one.
Nice.
Well done. Thank you guys.
Yes, thank you.
Feel fortunate to have you folks in the positions you're in.
I agree.
Yeah.
Amazing staff.
Yeah,
We're getting there.
Have a good day, everyone.
you too, take
See ya,
care.
thanks.
Okay, I will now entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I will second that.
No, you'll move.
Oh, you'll entertain it,
I'm entertaining a motion. I'm
Okay.
available for a motion
Uh,
if anybody wants to do that.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Seconded. To a vote.
Aye.
Aye, that is unanimously passed. Thanks, everyone. If you want packing materials, you can always reach out to us, specifically Sandra. And please don't forget to subscribe to our list, to get notifications about this, our meetings. It is 1 o'clock exactly, and I'll call this regular meeting of the BOCC of Lake County to adjourned.
Thank you, Commissioner Elsa. Thank you, staff.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Andy.